It is Monday. This is your crypto news bi-weekly edition. So there'll be another one coming out on Friday. And so we're going to cover everything you need to know right now. And what are the markets actually doing? Are we close to a bottom? Well, we'll cover that very, very shortly. So firstly, the reason why there's so much uncertainty in the market, of course, is tariffs. And if you haven't been following, essentially Trump is just trying to impose tariff after tariff after tariff. And referring to this as Liberation Day. Specifically, looking at the 2nd of April being the day when there's reciprocal tariffs for 25 countries. This essentially will push prices up in the US and make it harder to inflate the economy and devalue the US dollar. Now, the other thing that's happened is more kind of warish news, referring to the fact that Donald Trump is apparently annoyed with Vladimir because they're not actually working on a ceasefire with Ukraine, and is now threatening to levy tariffs on Moscow's oil exports if the Russian leader does not agree to a truce within a month. And that would be a 25% to a 50% tariff that would affect countries buying Russian oil. I don't know how it all works out, but it's bearish. It's bearish for the markets. This is basically it on all oil coming out of Russia. So I'm unsure how they managed to impose this tariff to, say, Portugal, Spain, or Germany. Also, Trump is threatening bombing Iran and secondary tariffs if they do not make a deal on the nuclear program with the US. Maybe a bit of a safer idea in some ways. Like, this is very, very political and it involves war, so I don't want to get into it. But like nuclear energy or nuclear weapons in the control of governments that are unstable, like North Korea and Iran and whatnot, and most of them, to be honest, this can end civilization on planet Earth. Anyway, Japan's stock market has fallen nearly 4% as investors prepare for President Trump's Liberation Day. Their stock market opens earlier, and so we're going to see probably a similar decline over here in the US. Now, with actual home prices, it's important to know, Jason Bazzino covers this all the time, and I'm a big fan of the 18.6-year property cycle. But basically, if housing is at all-time lows, then yeah, the stock market is not going to look very good. If it's at all-time highs and stocks are going through a small correction just due to these tariffs and whatnot, then the stock market's probably going to bounce back very, very nicely. And we can see from this picture here that pretty much all these major cities in the US are at their all-time highs or slightly below, with one exception being San Francisco. And there's been a mass exodus from San Francisco. From my understanding, it's a lot of homeless and drug users and people in the street, and it's not a place where you want to be. So you can understand that there's got to be an outlier when there's really bad political decisions made. Everything else is basically at all-time highs or very, very close to all-time highs. So stocks will come back. Also, typically, April is the second best month for the Dow Jones and S&P 500. I mean, it's too early to tell, to be perfectly honest, but we normally see this around the 3rd of April. So maybe we start to see some news start to push up after the tariffs have been announced. The more time something gets announced, the less the market will react. This is the same thing that's happened with China banning Bitcoin, which they've done 15 times. But if we have a look at the post-election years and the April market performance, then we can see with the S&P 500 as an example, it tends to come up in April, typically. So we just have to wait and see. I do think the bottom's pretty close to being in, and we've got some more confluence on that shortly. The other thing to keep in mind is there's like rotation. Do fund managers dump stocks and then buy them back? And in March, we saw a massive candle of outflows. There was a massive candle of inflows in December. So the stock market's, it's not as volatile as crypto, but it's still like there's still price manipulation. You push it up here, you take some profits, you go and dump it down, you buy it back lower. You're still maybe scalping these things on occasion. Although no one really could have really predicted that this would have turned out like this did. So this is a confluence where the waiting game is almost over. The 10-week lead is Raoul Paul's preference when it comes to global M2, the money supply, versus the Bitcoin price. If the Bitcoin price comes up, then altcoins lift up as well. And this is the bottoming zone. He's not saying the bottom is in, but he's saying the bottoming zone. And the data they have indicates that M2 global money has increased. And so our expectation would be that Bitcoin should follow a similar way. And just to be very, very clear, the bottom may not be in, but it's in the bottoming zone. So you have to trade that how you want to trade that. In general, if we have a look at TradingView, we can see that with USD dominance, it's increasing, which is not what we want to see. And like it's coming up to March levels, maybe it can go even higher. And that just means people are stabling up, and happily stabling up. When we start to see this drop down, then we can see prices kind of come back our way. With BTC, it needs to get above this ribbon in order to start to do well again. And it's a very steep downward direction, and it's still going a little bit lower. And we did a trade, a very small trade. We kind of missed this candle because this was so fast. This is on a 2-hour chart, but we entered and put on flash a couple of days ago on Friday, and it would have taken profits, I think, now. It still looks like it's going down. This is the actual like support area, this green section here, and we're just below it, but we're just hanging on to it. With Solana, it's like we have to hold this level, otherwise we go down lower. And similar deal, we put on a trade, we shorted very, very slightly. And like, we're just trying to hold on. But with, I think, the news coming on the 2nd of April, I do think we go down. I'm just hoping we stay like above 100, 110, to be perfectly honest. Now, if we have a look at range of finance and the Sol liquidation map, and I think the range of finance is fantastic, just waiting for like stop losses and take profits to come in, and then I can start to cover it more. Now, this doesn't give us the best overview, like, because it's just on chain, but it does give us a good amount of information. We've got like one massive short position that can be liquidated, but otherwise there's a lot more longs that could be liquidated. There's a lot more of a cluster here, and whereas nothing much is happening here at present. So I could definitely see that we were going to push down, take out all this here, liquidate all these people, and come down maybe like 118 or something. If we look at CoinGlass, which has all of the volume on centralized exchanges, then first, if we have a look at Binance BTC, we can see there's probably a little bit more in terms of longs that could be liquidated, moving the price down to like 80,000 at present. This is very dynamic. It can certainly change. But in general, Bitcoin in general, like it's pretty equal in terms of longs and shorts. So it's not really obvious which way it will go. April 2nd, I'm sure, will be quite telling. When we look at Sol, though, I mean, it's also like fairly equal, to be perfectly honest, but we can move the price down from here to here and capture more liquidations than we can by going the other way, all the way up here, and we won't get as much. So I still think, unfortunately, we're going to go down a little bit further. The actual market state visualization is nasty, very, very nasty. A whole lot of red in the market. We just have to survive this period. And we're getting more fearful. We never got any sort of greediness whatsoever. We were fearful and a tiny bit of neutral kind of viewpoints in about here. Unfortunately, Bitcoin quarterly returns, I mean, we've got 1 day left, but this has been the worst since 2018, which was not expected, certainly was not expected. Ethereum has not done well this quarter in any shape. Having a look at the Solana calendar, I'm not sure if anything's been like truly updated here. I'll cover this shortly and DeFi Dungeons, their NFT mint is today. We'll cover that as well. So the mint begins at 2 p.m. UTC today. And this is a quick rundown on how to mint it. Basically, you need to, it's on Magic Eden. Magic Eden is now like 94% of all NFT volume. And it's essentially first come, first served. We'll have to see how it all goes in terms of if you didn't get one. People have asked, like, where should I put in a bid? Like, I'm going to show you something else, and then we can decide from there. So come along here, see if you have access. Log in with your wallet, Solflare, connect, and approve. You're going to see if you have a whitelist spot, if you've been working on it. I am whitelisted here, and then this is like a free-for-all, whitelist 3. But I don't think they're gonna, like, they're all gonna go in here or here, to be perfectly honest. 325 USDC. The game is looking really, really good. The graphics, the nostalgia, it's really good. Now, if we look here, we can see that they're selling for, my understanding is this is not a whitelist spot. This is an actual wallet transfer, like an actual NFT. They're selling for a little bit of a premium because they've got an NFT transfer here. So 480, so $325 plus, approximately another 150. So there's a $150 premium. So if we kind of take this in mind, maybe we can go and set some bids at maybe 3 Sol, 4 Sol, 5 Sol. Maybe don't go straight to 5. That's a little bit of a heightened area. But like the markets are kind of scary. So people may be just trying to maximize a little bit of profit. I personally think it's going to do extraordinarily well. So I'm very, very bullish. But I'm just letting you know what this is. This here, $300. I don't know what this one is. I don't think it's for the actual NFT. I think it's something different. You can have a look at Exaverse if you want in this Discord server to go and buy some. But I wouldn't worry. It's kind of too late right now. I'm more keen on you just jumping in, setting some bids, and hopefully they get filled if they're a little bit lower. If we get lucky. Now there's a $221 million worth of Sol, which was withdrawn from Kraken and went to a newly created Solana, which then staked the full amount. Good to see. Get your stake on, and by all means, come stake with validator.com. Mountain DAO, this launch was supposed to go ahead today. However, MetaDAO needs a little bit of more time to optimize the launch experience. So perfect. This is now coming on April 2nd. I've got time to tell you about this another day, but suffice to say, I think this will be an insanely good opportunity to get a token that would be DAO run via the Futagi system. I'm expecting $20 million or more of inflows, just my viewpoint. Having a quick look at the Jupiter calendar, we've got 2 votes on, and there's a few other things like Jupe and Juice podcast. Reminder, the Juperary Sybils and Bots appeal closes today, and you've got to get your vote in. Do your vote today so you don't leave it for another couple of days. So Sybils, as mentioned, and the 2 latest votes are here. I'm going to do a very quick, simple video on X. I'll pin it just so I can kind of go over this. There's a lot of different viewpoints. A lot of people get very emotional when it comes to this. At this stage, both votes are looking like they're passing, very easily passing, just so you're aware. Cash goes over this, which I'm going to go over in this short video, but basically, the proposals are actually very small. They may be a little bit high sometimes in some areas, which I'll go over in the other video. Not even necessarily these 2, but sometimes the proposals in general a little bit high. But the trials have no dupe attached to them. I think the reason why there's a lot of bearish sentiment on this is because the dupe price is not down. If dupe price was climbing up, then it would be doing better. However, I just need to put out a little bit of an education source, and I'd like people to share that around. ZBTC, which is from Polo and Zeus, is now officially tradable on Jupiter Exchange. I think this would be a cool thing to use, and I think this is going to grow and grow and grow and overtake Coinbase BTC on Solana. There's a new type of scam, and this is basically downloading something from Google Chrome by just clicking to verify you are a human with Cloudflare. So be very, very mindful of this. You have to be super protective when it comes to Web3. It's a crazy security conscious space to be in. Monad has sent out some soulbound NFTs for hitting 1 million followers. It holds no value. However, I mean, these are soulbound, right? So you can't move them. So I don't know why they're kind of listed here, because I don't think you can necessarily buy them. These have no value, but they could end up in an airdrop. So if you manage to get one, cool. Otherwise, still play a little bit on Monad. And also, Backpack may be a wallet that you want to try with Monad. For Solana, I'm literally just only using Solflare. But if you want to go to Eclipse, you could try Backpack or Monad. But Solana is Solflare all the way. That's my kind of viewpoint. Finally, still playing the Portals game. You may have got an airdrop. So if you got an airdrop, go and check it out. You have to go and claim the airdrop. You can see the information in Portals. And I've got some lifetime winnings. I put a little bit in here. there's like hints that there might be a little bit of use for Chrono in the future. So speculation point only. But I'm just kind of upgrading. I'll take some profits, which I'm not profitable yet, but I'm upgrading, just having a bit of fun. And that's how I'm doing it. That's all for today. Make sure you subscribe and check out these 2 videos over here on other DeFi and crypto related news.